Welcome back, folks. B-Shooter94. We're here with another WCW Wednesday Night Nitro. We are here at the University of Central Florida again with our tapings. I want to say thank you again to everybody who made last week's episode phenomenal. We're 2 weeks away, guys, from the Great American Bash. I'm very excited to see what that pay-per-view will look like as we get to the finals of our tournaments and finally get things moving to a creative direction. This is episode number 291, technically, of Nitro, but this is episode 3 of our new regime. We're opening the show with our normal video package, which is the opening to Nitro. Again, we only are using 4 people for this opening right now because they're the only ones that are really big enough stars to do it right now. Nothing really to talk about here, it's just the opening of Nitro as we kind of check in with Shivani and Tanae to welcome us to the show and run down some of the matches that we'll see this evening, which are some final 4 matches of our tournaments for the Cruiserweight, the US, and the Tag. We saw Booker T get beat down by Buff last week, so we'll have to address that as well. So plenty of stuff to look forward to in this episode, so let's get right to it. So the show opens, we did a 2-part storyline here, or segment. So the first part of the segment is Buff Bagwell. Let's check something right here. Okay, for some reason that doesn't do it. I don't understand why. Okay, anyway. So Buff Bagwell comes down to the ring, and he says that last week he's very proud of himself of what he did to Booker T last week. Everybody thought that I was just this muscle guy who's an idiot here in the ring, and I am not. I decided I was going to take out the WCW champion before we even got to the Great American Bash. So that way, the Great American Bash, the WCW championship, can just be handed to me as it should be. But Booker T right now, he's not here. Why? Because of me. And Shane McMahon's music hits. And he says, well, Buff, I got to give you credit. You really, you took out the champ last week. And he's, you're right, Booker T's not here tonight. And right now, he's not cleared to compete at the Great American Bash. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him cleared because of you, but we still don't know yet. Hopefully, we'll find out by next week. But because of that, Buff, you know what? You want to prove yourself? You took out the WCW champion. You're in the main event tonight against a former US and tag champion in Hugh Morrus. Let's see if you can put your money where your mouth is. So he's going to face off against Hugh Morrus in the main event tonight. Booker T has a cracked cheekbone, so we will get to that and figure out where we're at when it comes to the Great American Bash and address that next week. So part 1 was the 64 with just Buff. Part 2 had Shane, Buff, Booker, and Hugh Morrus. Shane looked good, and everybody looked 68 on the overall segment. So yeah, we're really trying. This show is very centered around Buff Bagwell, and he's in the main event tonight against Hugh Morrus. And Shane McMahon addressed the issue with Booker T potentially being injured and not being able to compete. So let's get to our next match. And we open the show with a little bit of a Cruiserweight showcase here. And about to head decent wrestling, but little heat. AJ Styles defeats Juventud, Guerrera, Kid Kash, and Little Guido in 12 minutes when AJ Styles pins Kid Kash with a spiral tap. AJ Styles of 49, Juvi of 57, Kid Kash of 51, and Guido of 50. They announce the quality of the match, and AJ has a hot new move. 52 on the rating for wrestling. Crowd was a 23 because 3 of these guys are unimportant. And segment rating 54. I like it. It's a good non-tournament match that showcases the depth that we have in the Cruiserweight division, which we definitely do. I'm glad AJ got the win. I think that was much needed. We're trying to get him to recognizable as quickly as we can right now. So 54 rating on that. These 4 guys obviously all were not successful in the Cruiserweight tournament, so good stuff here overall. We get to a backstage promo, and this is just your simple pre-match, just, getting ready for his match against Kanyon from RVD. Not a lot to talk about here. It's really just, He's ready to take on Kanyon. He's ready to move on to the finals of the WCW United States Championship match. There's really nothing that's, I don't want to say groundbreaking, but there's nothing character driven here. It's just kind of RVD doing a generic RVD promo. 49 there, and he has ground support or public support, so that's good. Oh, what a match. Okay. And about to had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Rob Van Dam defeats Kanyon in 12:40 by a pinfall with a frog splash. As we said, this is part of the U.S. title. RVD is 78, Kanyon at 57. Storyline 3 has advanced. RVD was off his game. He did just fine, but that's okay. And amazing form and public support. Wrestling rating is 68 from overall, 48 from the crowd, and 71 on the match. I am so happy with this. This is fantastic. This is the type of performance I would need out of these guys going forward, so I'm very happy with this. So with that, Rob Van Dam will be in the finals of the U.S. Championship Tournament, and he will face either Mike Awesome or Kurt Hennig next week will face off, and the winner of that match will challenge RVD for the U.S. title. We get another video package for Bob Holly. Bob Holly is still coming to WCW. I think he's going to be debuting next week is my goal. And we're looking forward to that, seeing what he can do. I've had him on a couple of pre-shows just so I can get a rating. And it's looking good for a mid-card guy. I'm not going to say Bob Holly's going to be a world champion. I think I'd be lying if I said that. But a solid mid-card guy who can be a good heel. For guys that are possibly on the come-up or guys that are just solid mid-card TV workers. I'm fine with that. My roster needs depth, and I think this is a guy that can help with that. So 42 rating there. And in a Cruiserweight Championship Tournament match, and a decent match, Chavo Guerrero defeats Billy Kidman in 12:50 by pinfall by using the ropes for leverage. So Chavo Guerrero had to kind of slither his way to the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship match. Kidman had this matchup won, but Chavo was able to hold on to the ropes for the victory. Kidman got us a 50, Chavo a 57. Storyline 4 has advanced. Commentary lifted the match, and Torrie Wilson did some good ring work. Or good work at ringside, sorry. The wrestling was a 54, which I expected. Crowd was a little bit low for two guys that are mainstays of the Cruiserweight division, but that's okay. The overall match was a 53. I can't complain there with that. And Chavo has now moved on to the finals, so he'll be facing either Shane Helms or I believe Shane Helms is going to be facing... Shane Helms faces Hugh next week. So Hugh wasn't successful in that fatal four-way earlier. He didn't take the pin though. But Hugh or Shane Helms will be facing Chavo at the Great American Bash. 53 rating on this right here. We get a backstage promo from Diamond Dallas Page. So if you remember last week, he was not on the show. He was at the Jersey Shore. He cut a promo about how he was going to come back to WCW more motivated than ever. And he is ready to get into the ring tonight and showcase that. Diamond Dallas Page is talking about how he wants to bring WCW back to its former glory, and when it was the former glory, Diamond Dallas Page was on top of the card, and he's ready to take that spot back. 66 rating from Diamond Dallas Page on this promo, and he improvises well like he always does. In a decent match, Diamond Dallas Page defeats Elix Skipper in 11:27 by pinfall with a diamond cutter. 64 out of Page, 44 out of Elix. The commentary lifted the match. 54 on the wrestling, 49 on the crowd, 58 on the overall segment. So this was not only to get Diamond Dallas Page a win, but I wanted to have Elix Skipper kind of be focused. I know he took the loss here, don't get me wrong, but I wanted him to be noticed on Nitro here to give him a little bit of a spotlight. Another guy that another depth piece of our Cruiserweight division. Don't want him going on the wayside there and just sitting around doing nothing. We want to use him and use him in a way that is successful. Page gets a nice win here on his quest to become another top guy here in WCW. Get back his spot that he, for some reason, doesn't have anymore. So that's a solid match here. Good stuff out of both guys. We get a pre-taped interview from the Road Warriors. Just like RVD's promo earlier, this is just your generic pre-match, right before they go out, that they're ready to go. They're ready to get into the finals of this tag team championship tournament, and that there's no better team in WCW than the Road Warriors to be the first tag team champions of this new regime. I knew this was not going to be great, but I had to find something for the Road Warriors here before their match. So, in a decent match, the Road Warriors defeat Jindrak and Stasiak in 13 minutes when Road Warrior Animal pinned Shawn Stasiak with a Doomsday device. Jindrak was the weak link, and this was part of the tournament like we talked about. Hawk got us a 54, Animal a 59, Stasiak a 53, Jindrak a 33. Storyline 5 has advanced and gained heat. Jindrak was off his game. Obviously, tag team chemistry. Commentary was good. Stacy Keibler and Shawn Stasiak are a good pairing, so we will keep that rolling. The match was the rating was a 50 for wrestling, 40 on the crowd, 53 on the overall segment. So the Road Warriors will be in the finals at the Great American Bash. Who they're facing, we don't know yet. It'll either be the Natural Born Thrillers, Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo, or it'll be the Full-Blooded Italians, Tony Mamaluke and Tracy Smothers. Lance Storm cuts a kind of a scathing promo backstage about Curt Hennig, saying that he's been screwed by him twice now, first at the Big Bang and again last week, and that he is going to make sure that Curt Hennig is not the first U.S. champion here of the new regime, and that he is the better in-ring technician, and that Mr. Perfect, for example, is nothing compared to the Canadian Lance Storm. So this is just kind of, your generic heel thing. I'm trying to start building more of a feud between these two, just because they're both amazing in-ring workers. Charisma's not there for Lance, I get that, but trying to get something going here that's another feud that's not title driven, or I guess not based around a title, I guess. So that's storyline 1 here. It did lose some heat because Storm can't cut a promo, but that's okay. We're learning things about this save right now. Buff Bagwell comes down to the ring before his match with Hugh Morrus, and he's just, talking down the crowd, saying that Shane McMahon just put him in this match just to try to prove a point, and that he's going to beat Hugh Morrus, and then next week he's going to be ready to hear about Booker T not being cleared, and then he will walk into the Great American Bash ready for a championship to be handed over to him, the rightful champion. 73 on that from Buff. He did a masterful job. Very happy with this. Great job working the crowd there, Buff Bagwell. And in our main event, which is disappointing, Buff Bagwell, and about that good heat and decent wrestling, defeats Hugh Morrus in 13-16 by pinfall with a blockbuster. It was a storytelling match. Buff a 55, Hugh Morrus a 49. I don't know why he's still in poor form. Hopefully that goes away. Wrestling rating 52, crowd was a 55, and segment rating a 54. A little bit low on the rating here, a little disappointing, but overall Buff Bagwell gets the win over Hugh Morrus. I think that's the end of our show. Let's see what we get for a show rating here. I'm a little nervous. Oh, 62. Perfect. Increased our popularity in 9 regions. The show benefited from having quite a wide selection of promos and angles, so that's good. No major complaints here by me, I think, on this show. I mean, a couple of segments didn't hit the mark that I was hoping, but some did. And considering I didn't have Booker T for this show and a couple other, mainstay guys so far in the save, I think we had a pretty good Nitro for this one. Next week, guys, is the Go Home Nitro. We will have our last final 4 matches of all 3 tournaments, and then the match card of the Great American Bash will be officially announced at the end of that episode. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's keeping this save going with the likes and the comments, and really enjoying it. I'm enjoying this, so thank you. And we'll see you next week for that Go Home show of Wednesday Night Nitro.